I think we're going to go ahead and start everything here. Let's do mic check. AK, are you there? Okay, looks like he's having a audio bug, and he's going to try and get that fixed, but he is here, unlike the past couple times that we have ran. But yes, I think let's go ahead and let's get everything talked about and squared away. But yes, hello everyone. I'm Fan2403, AKDJ 2006, joined alongside me. We are here for Race 6 for the XRS Cup Series Season 14. And we're here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, such a historic venue. I did hear a little bobble from AK. Not sure if his mic is good.
Oh, yeah,
AK,
good
you good?
Yeah, I'm
All
good now.
right.
Just need to reset the mic.
All right, and then after that little bit that I just heard you on stream, we're all good. We should be okay.
Beauty.
All right, but we're here, like I said, the famous Indianapolis Motor Speedway. AK, welcome back after a little 2-week hiatus here. Not your fault, though. We know you were going to be on a tight full-time schedule anyway, and unfortunately, when you have the Super Bowl and the actual Daytona 500 2 weeks running back-to-back, we kind of needed to change the start times and the day that we raced just for that temporary pause. So, fortunately, that did not help you, but you are back
Yeah.
here for race 6, and we're back here at Indianapolis, a track that you're familiar with as well. So, what could we be expecting here? I know you got a chance to look at the guys practice a little bit, get a chance to look at their qualifying runs. So, based off of what you saw, what do you think we're going to see tonight?
Yeah, so you're going to see a lot. You're going to see guys that kind of, you're going to see separation between them. You're going to see guys running mostly in the 47s, and that's where your fast guys are going to run. And in those 47s is where you're going to see not a pack form, but something similar to it. It's not going to be quite a pack like we see at Daytona, but you'll see cars closer together than you would, let's say, at Homestead or the road course racing. They're going to be somewhat close together, but again, not near to the extent as we'll see like at Daytona.
All right, so definitely could be some close, exciting racing. Right now, race 6, there's still a lot to look forward to in terms of the season that we have up ahead of us. Now we're going to go ahead. Let's change the attention here just a little bit. Let's go over the points after what happened last week at Homestead Miami Speedway and a little bit of their track facts for you. Here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, it's located in Speedway, Indiana, and the actual town of Speedway is pretty much just the track and the confines of that area, but it is a real place, Speedway, Indiana. The track that we're at here is the Brickyard configuration, so the one everyone knows and loves, 2.5 miles in length and founded in 1909. Indianapolis Motor Speedway, of course, home to the greatest spectacle in racing, the Indianapolis 500, in which this year I believe will be the 109th running. I believe that's this year's running, so should be exciting there in May. In here, top 10 in the points. After his win last week, RZXU5A MVP propels himself to the points lead, gaining a 5-point advantage over JSR Blackened. 215 to 210, this point separation there. Then we see that big points fall off. We see it going down to Tomato in third place at 169. NWR Silent, unfortunately, missed a race. I believe he missed a race or two. Couldn't quite remember. But he is at 153. Or I'm sorry, 163. EVR Reward 162. Kart Racer 159. And then Ray's Peasant, the first driver outside of the playoff cutoff right now, sitting at 158. So at the very cutoff, it's still just a 1 point separation. Not as close as the points were heading into Homestead. Point separation there, it was like third through seventh only had a 2 point separation. So definitely was very close. Here, still close at the cut line. But for what we could be seeing today, there still could be a lot of valuable points on the line, and especially off of your description of what we could see on track AK today.
Yeah, and we're starting to get into that kind of that gray area where points are really going to start to matter, especially as we get closer and closer to that playoff cutoff line. It's going to get very, very close, especially on those last couple spots that are either going to be inside the playoffs or outside the playoffs. So it is going to get very, very close, and these points are going to start to matter very quickly.
Definitely will. And then getting a chance to look at the schedule here. Us being here at Indianapolis for race 6, 70 laps scheduled for tonight. That still leaves Daytona Road Course, Sunset Peninsula, Homestead Miami Speedway for the road course, and then when we come back here for race 10 to determine the playoffs. So getting a good run today, that can definitely help getting a good run and knowing where you're going to stand when it comes to come back here at race 10 to get the regular season wrapped up and the playoffs going underway. Now, I do see them starting to load in on track. Now, sometimes this can take us a few tries because of the great Forza Motorsport itself.
Great Turn 10 Studios.
Great Turn 10 Studios, Forza Motorsport. Hey, at least they allow us to provide a good show for you guys.
After a year of launch.
After. Yes, those are the negatives. There's many negatives, but
Asterisk next to that last comment. After a year of launch.
After a year of launch. Okay, so the cars are now loaded in on track, but we're going to see here small launch countdown. All right, because they will still need to test. They will still need to see if, no one's ghosted, no one's running into each other. Like everyone can see each other.
And lobby reset.
Lobby reset, all right. Figured that was going to be the case.
Is it a Forza Motorsports live stream without it? You're going to have at least one every time. Nothing can run perfect.
I think last week they actually got it on the first attempt.
Oh, so you're saying I'm just a bad luck charm?
Well, you weren't there 2 weeks ago, but it still took more attempts. So.
So I don't think the settings were bad. I just believe, from what I'm hearing, race control is a driver had lagged out right off the bat. So.
Driver lag out right off the bat. Okay.
So yeah, they'll give that driver another attempt or two to get in, and hopefully he doesn't have any more connection issues. But if he can't get in with the next probably attempt or two, I'd imagine they will just start without him. Fortunately.
All right. Now, something that you might notice differently over watching the broadcast, at least on the Twitch side of things, we do have slight endorsements and advertisements that will be happening in and out of the stream. In comparison to in the past, we technically already had affiliate status in terms of meeting the requirements, but we never did the onboarding. It took us a while because we wanted to wait for a good opportunity to do it. Now we feel it is a good time to do it, so there will be 1 minute ads every about, I believe, 20 minutes. So, yeah, so trying to be a little bit honest and showing that, yes, if you're wondering why all of a sudden we have advertisements on the broadcast now, it's because we officially did the paperwork. But we already had the status for a while.
Yay, 4 cents an hour.
Yay! I actually have no clue how much we make.
Sorry,
But
1.5. Sorry, 2 cents per hour because we got to split that.
there we go. Yeah, well, it sounds better.
Sounds more reasonable.
Yep, and hey, now we have access to give you guys a little bit of a better quality broadcast. We also have goals in mind. Because here we're at 103 followers on the Twitch, which is actually pretty good. Pretty nice. Thank you guys for being able to watch our broadcasts and being able to actually provide these broadcasts is good to start with. So, yeah, so we
It's
have
really
fun
good
putting
start.
all this together. And hopefully we're able to get so many things better and squared away as the future moves on. Okay, so now they're back on track. We're going to try and get this going.
I'm not hearing any technical problems, so I think once we get them in the correct order, we should be good to go.
All right, and I do have the qualifying order for you. We're going to go ahead and share the top 10 for you. First row is Tomato Drifts and LMP Amoeba. Row 2 makes up the RZX U5 AMVP and NWR Slow. Row 3 makes up EMC Vision and JSR Blacken. Row 4 is EVR Refor and NC Boy for Life. And then finally, row 5, rounding out the top 10, Kart Racer 212429, and then Josh Kurz, rounding off the top 10. We have Zeno starting just outside in the 11th spot, RZX Oracle in 12th. Then technically we have Legend in 13th, but he will be serving a drive-through penalty at the start of the race due to a penalty that he had gotten a little while back. And also Vision, even though he qualified high up in 5th, he will be starting at the rear end as well. And rounding off, we have Ray's Peasant in 14th, SG Blue Streak in 15th, and then Ray Robb in 16th.
Yeah, man, I just gave us an extra cent. You're welcome for that another half cent towards your paycheck this week.
Thank you. It makes me feel so grand. But here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, there's a lot of things you need to take into consideration. One being that when you are here, there is going to be only around 3 opportunities on this track to really get a pass done. And that's going to be at the ends of the straightaways, or that's going to be in the short chutes. So the ends of the straightaways or the short chutes. The reason why those are the best places, because those are the times that it takes for you to really get down under the braking and get a good shot for you. We do have one person sitting at the start-finish, I think.
They're calling it off.
Calling it off, because Legend. Yep, that's Legend sitting on the front stretch. Were they not sure if he was here?
Yeah,
They
they were asking if he was good. I believe they're just gonna try and maybe push him from away from the start stop. They're gonna park their cars. So I believe they're gonna try and move him from where he is, so he's out of the way.
All right. They could do that, or they could. Well, they could restart the race. He just hasn't. He's just not here.
We'll see.
Well, this is interesting.
This is interesting. I'm trying to kind of pick up bits and pieces.
Well, we'll go ahead. We'll wait and see.
All right, that's it. Run the commercials. Run an ad.
I mean, that is what I just did.
I looked to my left and see an ad pop up.
Me. Yeah, so if you're
All
watching
right,
on
he's back.
Twitch, yes,
He's back.
there's an ad
Fantastic.
running right now. But if you're going to be watching on YouTube later, I don't think they're going to show the
I
ad.
love that I looked to my left at my laptop to look at any messages in the stream and immediately was met with an ad. That's fucking fantastic.
Yep. All right, so it looks like this race has technically now been shortened by 1 lap. Because with the pace lap and now Legend being back to make up that lap for him being back here, now this is going to make it to where, okay, what we have to do now is the race is essentially shortened by 1 lap. Whether if that will make a difference on people's pit strategies, it shouldn't. Mainly because 1 lap that we decide to run right now will just simply make it to where, okay, you're running 69 laps instead of 70 race laps, which shouldn't make that much of a difference anyway. Because they're not like on the edge of a window to try and hit.
No, it's not like it's the last pit stop to make it to the end of the race. It's going to be the first one to get you about a third, if not halfway through.
Tomato Drifts and LMP Amoeba going to lead the front row. Then we have, of course, 2 Monster Energy cars right behind. And RJXU5A MVP and NWR Slow, which I believe that's just silent. But off turn 4, Tomato Drifts, LMP Amoeba will lead the field to green. And away we go. Green flag is out for race 6. Racing is underway at the Brickyard.
Randall going to take that early lead, going to be able to get that inside and cut off Amoeba from doing anything. MVP's going to be in 3rd place, trying to get past Amoeba. Amoeba is going to block him and kind of try and keep him in line there.
Tomato Drifts, Amoeba get lined up single file, but a long straightaway means a long time for a run to produce. Here early on, we don't expect these front guys to be very dicey, but it's going to be a mix-up all the way in the back for sure. Silent already getting caught side by side, almost there with Blackened and MVP.
We're going to turn number 4 to complete our first official lap while under green. Blacken's going to look to the inside of Slow, see if he can get a run coming into turn number 1. He will have that inside lane, so it might slow him down a bit for Slow. He is going to now be side by side entering turn number 1.
Meanwhile, someone in line is going to take advantage of that. EVR Rewar not taking his time. He's going to try and follow Blacken straight through at the exit of 2. They're still side by side with Silent, holding strong on the outside. Kart Racer in line, waiting to see if anything happens.
Going up to near the front of the pack, MVP's going to overtake Amoeba on the inside. They got side by side off the same corner. Off of turn number 2, he's now going to be raced up to be side by side with the leader with Tomato. He's going to have the inside.
Through 4. And he gets that job done. He gets around. He's now the new leader approaching through the front. LMP Amoeba getting a run to the inside right at the stripe. Going to try and go to his inside and in 1.
Into 1. Amoeba does get it, but he might have sent it just a little too hard. MVP's going to send it back up through the inside. He's not going to be side by side with him. He's going to clear him into
Car
turn number
spinning
2.
behind. Kart Racer being one of them. Through the short chute. 1 car in the hard wall. That's NC Boy for Life getting caught up in it as well.
Low. NC Boy Life and Kart, I believe, are the only 3 cars majorly involved.
Oh. Whoa. That usually doesn't mean anything good when we get this loading screen. I don't see any DNFs.
I don't either. I believe Blue Streak may have had damage too, as he's gone into the pits now as well.
Kart Racer now in pit road as well.
If I had to assume, blue also had some damage.
But it's at this point in time, they've already raced it back to the line, and this is why we go over this rule. Here, the first 10 laps of the race, because we had Legend serve the drive-through penalty at the very start of the race, that makes it to where the first 10 laps are caution-free no matter what. So unfortunately for those guys, Cart, Blue Streak, anyone else involved and caught up in it, NC Boy for Life as well, and Silent also not lap down now. All of them now need to wait until after lap 10 for a caution to come out to try and make up some time.
Yeah, going back to the action now, I'm starting to see two packs kind of form. We have one first through fourth, and it appears to be fifth through to eighth. Or, sorry, ninth. All kind of starting to form their own packs. Now we have two packs as Tomato takes the lead heading into turn number 2.
Tomato getting a good job here managing the field, managing being at the front. But then, like you said, the first car at the lead of that pack is actually in a battle right now. It's FLE Xeno, formerly Xenocity, and EVR Rewar. Oracle got caught up high a little bit in turn 3. He's battling with Vision for that spot. That's for 7th place.
Yeah, and this is what's wrong. Not wrong with this tractor. This is what drivers can find a problem in, is if you get high even by half an inch, that's more than enough room for a car to try and go through. And if you're at the lead or even second place in a pack, every car is going to follow you through. So you're going to get shuffled right to the back of that pack.
And that's really what happens. Like on the straightaways, if you can get that run developing, you can easily get 2-3 lanes going, but then that narrows very quickly into 1.5 lanes entering into the corners. You really might only have an outside line if you're approaching the second corner. So if it's turn 2 or turn 4, you're not really going to form an outside. And if you get wide, just like Xenocity just did, that's going to make it to where they're easily able to get to your inside, and it's a long straightaway to try and hold them off.
Yeah, you're going to see it here. You're going to see Rewar and probably Vision, and if not Oracle, you're going to see them all go right underneath Xenocity, and he's going to lose 3 positions. Looks like just 2. I don't think Oracle could get there just in time, but still, if you get even caught on that second lane, you are going to get passed by 1, 2, 3, maybe even more cars.
Now we see the same thing happening here. Vision going around Rewar down on the back straightaway. They're catching the tail end draft of, I believe, sorry, was that NC Boy for Life? Is that who they're catching?
That is. That would be NC Boy.
So lap car trying to get around him right now. But it's that same principle. Everyone, you fall in line on these big straightaways, have a lot of drafting opportunity, but the second you pull out of line, that's going to make it to where either everyone's going to go with you or no one's going to go with you.
Yeah, and chances are if you're in that, if you're going for the high pass, no one is going to go with you, and you are going to have a train just go right by you on the inside.
Xenocity ran a little high. Xeno almost getting into the outside wall. He might have scraped it just a tiny bit. But now it's looking like Vision and Rewar going to try and get out of dodge. Xeno, he's a little bit back, but he's not right on the bumper like he once was. Moving on up to JSR Blackens, who's at the tail end of the lead 4. Front 4 all drafting pretty much in line with each other.
About 5th through 7th, so Vision, Rewar, and Xenocity all just hit that outside wall for turn 4 very hard. No one spun, but they lost a lot of time for it.
It's a monkey see, monkey do. Everyone,
yeah.
They're trying to, it's lap 11, so they're really just trying to stay tucked in line right now, not really trying to do anything daring. But in that process, that makes it to where you're kind of just turning on autopilot, and you're following the car in front of you. And
yeah,
well,
as
that happens, yeah, it can easily lead to all of them getting into the wall.
Yeah, because you're just keeping your eyes on the car ahead of you, so when he hits the wall, then you've already followed his line because you're watching him, so you just end up in the wall as well.
Mm-hmm.
Rewar's not going to go to the inside of EMC Vision as they approach for lap number 12. He is going to get that as they enter into turn number 1.
Great job by Rewar being able to get that pass done, because now Zeno and Oracle, they're now catching up. Now getting bunched back up like they were just a handful of laps ago. NZ Boy for life. He's still staying in their draft, but he's a lap car. Excuse me.
Now going to the front pack, Blacken currently challenging Miba. He looked on the inside in turn number 3. We'll see if he looks to the inside as we enter turn number 1. He is going to. Now looking on the inside, he is going to have the run. Will he be able to get side by side with him as they enter number 1? They will, and he will complete the pass as they enter 1.
Tomato and MVP, they have been just 1-2 cycling pretty much almost this entire race.
Looks like they're about to try and cycle again as Tomato's going to go low, won't quite have enough. What they might be doing, and this isn't saying for sure, is Tomato might be going out of the draft just to keep this up, to kind of build a distance between either him and Blacken or him in the second pack, just so that they can kind of pull away and they don't have to really worry about it. Because again, you're not going to be able to win this race at lap number 13. You're going to have to wait and be in position when that final lap comes around. So I think they're just trying to get out of Dodge to try and avoid any chance of potentially wrecking or anything. So they're not going to try and pass each other too much. They're not going to really do a whole lot besides just, again, trying to get that separation from everyone else.
Well, the top 3 in points are the top 3 in the race right now, just not in the right order. MVP, the point leader, Blacken is second in points, then Tomato third. Both of them could be trying to, like, okay, us 3 are the top 3 drivers in the points right now. We're all running good, 1, 2, 3, but it's just making those tiny bit of points up on each other. Tomato, especially trying to be a man on a mission, he's still around 30 to 40 points behind Blacken, which is the next closest ahead of him. Not many points to make up if you're running 1, 2, 3, although there is a 5-point gap between him and MVP being first and second place. So that could help him, and that could be what Tomato's thinking right now. He's just thinking, okay, if I can run with the top 3 right now, I just need to know when to be ahead at the end.
Exactly, and every time these guys pass each other, it doesn't look like it, but they do lose a little bit of time. So if that second pack just stays in line, they will eventually catch this first pack if everyone just continues passing each other.
So far, a very tamed race in terms of how the front guys are battling and that second pack. We did have that incident run on lap 6, but obviously the start of the race, first 10 laps caution free. So if an incident happens now, it can very still cause a caution, shake up the field just a little bit. As of right now, everyone's just cruising in line.
Yeah, and like you said, for the first 10 laps, there wasn't any cautions. Now, a caution can come out at any point. So I would say this would probably be one of the tracks to watch out for a completely green race. However, obviously, like we've seen prior, if we get one caution, they all start stacking, and we have to re-rack them, you could see that breed a lot more cautions.
Ray Robb making his first XRS start tonight in pit road. Because now we're approaching the window of guys making their actual first pit stops here.
Leaders are coming up on a couple lap cars right now. I believe that's Kart Racer and Legend, I believe, in front of him. Obviously, Kart Racer involved early on.
Could be,
in the wreck.
Yep, that's Legend.
Yeah, obviously, Kart Racer involved early on in the wreck, so he's unfortunately going to go a lap down here.
We got into the wall just a little bit.
Yeah, he did. Again, every time these drivers hit that wall just ever so slightly, they do lose about a tenth or so. So those will add up over the time.
Tomato going around that lap traffic kind of boldly there. being able to dive to the inside. He didn't necessarily want MVP to follow him, trying to create a little bit of separation. In the meantime, MVP had to deal with Cart for one more straightaway that he wanted to.
Yeah, and you'll see majority if not all of these lap cars. Sorry, I was just looking to see if someone had lagged out or something because I had a brief moment. Yep, there it is.
There it is. Now it's going back and forth. Okay, so a DNF from Legend. We are assuming that could just be they left rather than a lag out.
I believe I would imagine a lag out, as he was the driver that lagged out before. So I would actually imagine a lag out.
MVP Tomato, they're side by side heading into turn 3. MVP not quite clear, but he's far enough ahead to where he's going to have that line going in. Tomato could get close enough. They both hit the wall just a tiny bit, and they're both going to go to pit road.
Yeah, and this might have been a case where I think where MVP went in, so Tomato went in just to be at the same advantage, or they might have also just had the same time to pit at, right? So it could have been either or there. Obviously, all the top 4 have gone in now.
Yep, they're all going into pit road. Josh Kerr is going to be the first car to stay out, and he's going to pass all these guys, and he's going to take the lead. Now, the race off pit road will be interesting, because all these guys pretty much pitted under a blanket. MVP overtook Tomato in the pits.
And that's another thing about... Go for it.
Yeah, I was going to say, but you see here, they need to take that access road to the exit of turn 2. MVP, he's going to have drafting help with Kart Racer right away. Tomato all by himself, so that could have just been a crucial stop for Tomato.
Yeah, and it's likewise for MVP, because now he's going to be able to gain a bit of a lead over Tomato. He knows Kurz has not come in yet, so eventually he will be able to overtake Kurz. So Kurz isn't his worry right now. His worry is Tomato, who is now behind him, and that's where these pit stops really come in. Is, again, it's all generated with the time of the pit stop, so you can't do anything to affect it. However, it is more realistic to the fact that not every pit stop is exactly the same time. Not every pit stop is exactly what they estimate it's going to be. So it does add a new kind of angle to this race. Is you have to think about how long your pit stop could potentially take instead of how long it will take.
Now, Tomato kind of in his own bubble right now, but catching our two buddies who are drafting. That's LMP Amoeba and JSR Blackened. They're 4th and 5th right now, but with them drafting with each other, that's going to make it to where they're going a lot faster than Tomato, and they probably are going to catch him either in about a half lap or a full lap from now. They're going to get to him.
Yeah, and
now
that's
the question will be, actually, are they going to work with Tomato to get up to the top? Pretty much not 2, but you get it, with MVP and Kart, or are they going to just go around him and say, nope, we're on our own mission?
Well, here's the thing, is if these were, say, teammates, I would say most likely they would probably try and want to get around Tomato as long as they weren't in his team. However, again, at this track, you need that inside lane. So if you're going to go to the outside, you're going to struggle to get around Tomato. So I would either wait until he either makes a mistake and then try and get around him, or just stick with him and keep pushing forward.
And there they go. Blackened now very much in the draft of Tomato. And
now
that's actually going to create,
behind.
yeah, that's going to create separation between him and Amoeba. Blackened going to try and force his way to the inside of Tomato, and that's going to rub him into the wall a little bit.
Yeah, so now I'll throw Amoeba back into this now, because I just lost them both a bit of time, enough to get Amoeba up and to gain a couple tenths for MVP. And, of course, Kart.
It was interesting to see what was going to happen there. I wasn't sure if Tomato was going to try and overtake at the last second, because he had an opportunity to, But it looks like he's just going to stay tucked in line right now. But if I were Tomato, I would have remembered the way that he got into me like that.
Well, if we look up to MVP now Cart's kind of gone away from him a bit, so now he's the one on the island. So the cars behind him, that being Black and Amoeba and Tomato, they should all slowly start to catch him, especially on these straights. You're going to see that ticker go down a lot on these straight.
Yeah, and the reason why that is because MVP, now he has his own, he's in his own bubble, okay? He has no car really in front of him for drafting help, and he has no car behind him to push, so there's so much air resistance that's dragging around his car that he's just not going to go as fast as 3 cars lined up on top of each other. So that's going to make it to where that gap will go down. And Josh Kerr's now to pit road, so that's going to be the new leader when they come back around.
Yeah, right now MVP's losing about 0.04 seconds on every straight, give or take. But again, with these guys jostling around, he's gaining time on these corners because of it. So the 3 drivers behind him really need to just keep focusing on pushing each other rather than gaining a position every now and again and then losing a position. They just need to focus on drafting with each other to try and get that time downwards until they can reach that MVP.
Well, with MVP having no drafting help, they should be able to catch him. Now, if he did have drafting help, MVP can probably make it to where he can still have a good-sized lead. But I don't believe he's within the range of Kart Racer, the lap car ahead of him, to be able to actually get a draft off of him.
No. So again, on these straights, they're closing, but because they continue to pass each other and continue to try and get one extra position, they're losing about 0.04, 0.03 on each of these corners.
Yeah, but then on the straightaway, they were almost at 1.4 seconds before that front stretch, and then they got it down to about 1.2, so they gained around 0.2 there. Here on this stretch, they're still able to gain almost 1/10 of speed. But in the corners, that just slows down a little bit. They're still catching, but it just slows down how fast you're catching them.
Yeah, and it's because in the corners, again, there's not a whole lot of difference between when you're drafting and when you're not drafting. There's a very, very slight difference. You might be going, a mile per hour or 2 miles per hour faster than the guy who's not drafting. But where you really see it is on that straight. That's when you have probably 5 to 10 mile an hour difference.
There, the gap got down to just about a second, but now it's sitting at 1.1.
Right now, there's going to be a bubble that's about to form between Amoeba and Blacken. Blacken kind of lost the draft a bit there. I don't know. He might still be just in it. I can't quite tell. But with him hitting the wall now at a turn 4, he's definitely going to lose it. Losing a lot of time because he hit the wall at a 4.
Yep, that cut down Blacken to out of the draft because you need to be, I believe the window for here, you need to be at 0.7 seconds behind, and then that is where you start to catch that draft window. If you really want to be in their draft to get a run, then you need to be around 0.5 seconds behind. But now MVP, it looks like he has drafting help in front of him. He has some lap cars up ahead. That's Blue Streak, and it looks like Vision.
Yeah, that's Blue Streak and Vision. So now, as long as these guys aren't going a lot slower than him, he should be able to get a draft off these guys. He's going to look to the inside of Blue here, and he should be able to gain hopefully some time back if he can. If not, he'll keep him at bay.
He's able to get in between them now, which that's going to keep his speed at bay. But in his process of trying to get around these guys, he will be running slower. And Blue Streak into the wall!
Now spinning back across the track. I believe everyone's going to be able to avoid him if he can keep it up there. Yeah, everyone's going to be able to avoid him.
Drivers in turn 2 able to avoid. Not quite sure if one of them ghosted for a split second. That is against the rules.
Green
now
flag
moving back up. Okay, green flag still called.
Ooh.
Between MVP There.
And
That then...
C off of turn 4 got really loose in front of MVP. He had to chase it all the way down to the bottom of the track. Was able to hang on to it though.
But in doing that, Tomato, Amoeba, they're now slightly separated. They're not bumper to bumper because they needed to avoid Blue Streak, who was going to spin back up in front of the racetrack. But that did not help Blacken try to get up, so that slowed down pretty much almost everyone.
Yeah, pretty much everyone besides I'd probably say MVP. But MVP, I think, might be just slightly off his groove right now. The last 2 turns, he's kind of clipped the outside wall or hit it fairly hard.
He could be on the edge of his pit cycle window because now we're at lap 30. So it could be the tires are not gripping as much as he wants them to. And then, okay, it's okay if you want to look at his tire wear, just give me a range of what he could be at.
I'll do that. But cartridge spoke got loose in front of MVP as well.
Now Tomato and Amoeba, they're now pretty much bumper to bumper with each other in each other's draft.
Oh yeah, MVP's tires should be good for the time being. There shouldn't be any problem with his tires for at least another couple laps.
All right, kart racer to pit road.
But now MVP's having some draft help by Vision. Vision's right behind him and kind of keeping pace enough for a Vision to get a draft. Oh, as MVP trips the wall at a turn number 1. So again, these wall taps are really costing him 0.5 off that corner, 0.07 off that corner.
Tomato did his best to try and get around. I believe that was NC Boy for life. He tried to get around, and now around Blue Streak. Now Blue Streak, the next car into pit lane.
Oh! Car crashed on the back right. That car, I believe he was coming, just looking at his tracks, I believe he clipped the grass coming out of turn number 2 from the pit lane and went into the inside wall. I believe he does have damage, but again, because it's only him, I don't believe a caution will be called.
Yeah, if it's only him, then probably no yellow will be called. Wow, really not having a caution in that first 10 laps really killed half of this field. Because now, through the time of the leaders gaining time through pit road and being able to run wide open, not needing to get restacked, look what this does. It makes it to where 10th on back is laps down or more, at least 1 lap down or more. There's a chunk of cars who are really far back, but still on the lead lap, that being Oracle, Ray's Peasant, and Josh Kurz. Oracle 25 seconds back to the leader, Ray's Peasant 28, Josh Kurz 32, 33 now. And then you have the top 6, that's within well range of each other for how long we've been running in this race for.
Oh yeah, 100%. And these long runs are going to really test the driver, especially when you're by yourself. It's just trying to keep that consistent lap, and every time you see yourself kind of fading a bit, you kind of get in your head by yourself. So when we have these long green flag runs, it doesn't become, a test of when will the next caution comes out. It becomes a test between yourself, really, especially when, again, you're by yourself.
Amoeba in pit road now, so we could see a couple of drivers elect to run.
And this could be Amoeba trying to undercut some of these drivers, trying to have some fresher tires for the next couple laps to see if maybe he can gain a spot or 2 using a different pit strategy compared to everyone else. So it'll be interesting to see if a couple of drivers will follow him in the next couple laps, or if we'll see Amoeba have fresher tires than everyone else for the next 5 or 6 laps.
And we see FLE Zeno and AVR Rewar working together. They're currently 4th and 5th. These two, they were battling around 20 or so laps ago when we had that two-pack split, the front four and then the next four after them.
Lowe now coming to the pits as well, so he may be trying to get on a different strategy to see if we can get a couple spots between NC Boy and Ray.
So it looks like in terms of position, JSR Blacken is all by himself for cars that he can pass. He has 2 lap cars behind him. And he has 1 in front of him. I believe that's Cart that was ahead of him. And now he's going to get down to pit road.
And now Tomato Drift and Blacken. Tomato Drift and Blacken are also going to go down into pit road. So Amoeba may be the first to kind of pressure some drivers to go into that pit road and try and get on a different strategy. So Amoeba could have fresher tires and could be able to gain a couple spots because he kind of undercut everyone else.
So that will be interesting in the change-up that we're going to have then now.
Yeah, Amoeba is going to be able to pass both those drivers that went down into pits. So he is going to be able to, I believe, gain at least 1 spot, if not both spots there. Rewar MVP also coming down now.
That's interesting that Zeno elected not to go into pit road with Rewar. They could be on very different pit strategies, or Zeno just trying to try something on his own.
And again, it could be in my mind it could be one of 3 things. Either it could be number 1, Zeno's going to try and make his tires last as long as possible to try and overcut everyone else. Number 2, he already has a set lap that he wants to pit on, and he doesn't want to be pressured, as in some of the other drivers could have been pressured when they seen Amoeba go in to go ahead and pit when he did as well, and he just has a set lap that he wants to go on, as he's going to come in this time by. Okay, so those are those are my two main ideas when I see this.
So unless he goes down to pit road, that's going to make Oracle. I don't believe he went in this time. So Oracle is going to cycle out to the new leader.
He just hit the outside wall of turn 4. Got loose, was able to collect it though. We'll see how long Oracle's willing to extend his tires here.
Tomato Drifts, RZX U5A MVP. They are now 2nd and 3rd. And so now, through this little cycle, we no longer have 1 car ahead of everyone else. And meanwhile, looked like that was a really good stop for Amoeba, as he's made up a lot of time now.
Yeah, and I think Amoeba tried to undercut everyone. So as Oracle's coming in now as well, I seen him kind of fading quickly in the time. So I figured he would be coming in about now. But again, this is where the undercutting will come into good place. Now we'll see at the end of this run if it's actually going to help him a lot more. Because he undercut the field by a lap to 3 laps, his tires are going to be older about a lap to 3 laps sooner than everyone else. Unless, of course, he can take care of him as Josh. It's very loose in the middle of turn number 1, so that's going to give Amoeba another spot, and he's going to be able to crack the top 3.
Yeah, Amoeba jumping up after that pit stop, getting up to the top 3. He's now only 4 seconds back from the leader. When in comparison to pre-pit stops, Amoeba was one of those drivers that were in that 9-second window back. So making up time where it counts. Definitely pit road when you elect to go into pit lane, trying to dictate, okay, what strategy is Tomato using in MVP? And am I going to be the one to be able to undercut them and be able to get around?
Yeah, and this is where pit strategy plays such a vital role, especially again with the new pit stops that aren't always exactly perfect, right? You can have a longer pit stop, you can have a shorter pit stop, etc., etc. This is where pit strategy really comes into play because again, Amoeba, I believe, was what before his pit stop? 6th place, correct? 6th, 7th
Hmm.
place, and he gained a total of 2 spots from the pit stop, and it allowed him to get in position to gain a third spot off of somebody else's mistake. So in total, he was able to gain three spots off a undercut. That could put him in contention to be able to win later on in this race if Tomato and MVP make a mistake or have a bad pit stop.
Tomato and MVP are now 1-2, but bumper to bumper. Earlier, MVP had a gracious lead and got caught in the right place at the right time so that he would essentially be his own little island. But now having to deal battling with Tomato again, this can still impact this run, as both of them run a little wide in turn 3. But the reason why this could impact this run so much, in that for most of that run where he was just by himself, he's not using as much tires as in comparison to here, battling with Tomato. Both of these guys are going to use more of their tires faster with them battling, and so that could impact when you need to go to pit road next time by.
Yeah, and if they wear their tires down enough, that's going to work in the favor of Amoeba, again, who's in 3rd place, who undercutted the entire field by, again, about 1 to 4 laps. So he's going to have to come in 1 to 4 laps sooner than the rest of the field again. So if these guys can get, again, split that difference and get even, let's say, two extra laps of wear on their tires, now Amoeba's right on pace with them.
And whether if Amoeba can actually make up that time, it is possible because he went from being about 9 seconds back to then 4 seconds post pit stop. That gap is now increased to 5 seconds, so he lost a little bit of time, but he still gained a lot of positions. If he can have another pit stop like that where he gains about 4 or 5 seconds, he's in that window right now that he can still be within fighting distance, or striking distance, I should say. He would be within striking distance of the leaders. But that all depends if he can have just as good as a pit stop this next time around.
Yeah, and again, if he decides he's going to try and undercut again, he will gain more than enough time to be able to pass them. However, let's say he pits at the same time as them. Oh, hold on. Yep, wrecking turn number 2, it looks like. Didn't catch who was involved, though. Slow's going to be involved.
Yep. Slow or silent, definitely one of the cars involved. It looks like the other car is Ray Robb.
So caution is going to be called. So this will stack the field again.
Yep, that stacks up the field, and that makes it to where, okay, we've only been a handful of laps outside your pit window. Is it worth it to go into pit road now? It's only been, what, been about 5-7 laps since most of these guys have gone down the pit lane?
Yeah, it's been about 5-7 laps, and this is, if you're a leader, I don't believe I would see many of the leaders come in. Maybe Amiibo, because again, he's about 3-4 laps older tires than the rest of the field. However, if you're near that kind of back, like Oracle, Ray's Vision, I could see you coming in to try and get some fresher tires off their restart, because again, you're not going to move more than 1-2 spots at most, because we have 11th on back is a lap car by more than 1 lap. So you're not actually going to lose a lot of time if you decide to go in and pit.
Yep, all of those guys, Blue Streak, Slow, NC Boy for Life, and Kart Racer, these are guys that are 2 laps down. Initially, we had Ray's Peasant being a car 1 lap down, so he's going to get back on the lead lap here. But all those guys who are 2 laps down, they're still going to be 1 lap behind. And Ray Robb, he's 4 laps down, so he's not going to make up much time at all. So I believe they opened pits that time by, but no takers here amongst the front pack. We might see the guys who are making up a lot of time, as we saw Ray's. he knew he was going to get back on the lead lap, but he went down to pit road.
Again, this is something we need to look out for, is will this caution create more cautions that everyone's stacked up? Again, last time they were stacked up was when we didn't have cautions enabled. That was before lap 10. And we seen a wreck then. Well, the question is now is, will we see another wreck or two before we start getting back to green flag racing?
That is the debate.
I know if you're MVP, Amoeba, Tomato, Kurtz, you don't want to see many more caution flags called before the end of this race. However, if you're someone like Blue Streak, Slow, even Rays and Oracle, a caution would definitely work in your favor.
A lot of the field at the back have now made up that time. NC Boy for Life, Kart Racers still 2 laps down, so they will still need to make it around one more time.
So pits are actually going to be open this time by, so we're going to be doing one more caution lap.
Yep, one more lap. And that's probably because then, okay, we needed time to have a bunch of lap cars, a bunch of guys were far back. And everyone
taking. Everyone. Besides, I think Blue Streak. Blue Streak, Kart, and Rob are going to be the only people who aren't going to take.
All right. The whole field elects to go into pit road.
So again, this is going to allow Blue Streak now to get back on the lead lap. This is going to allow Kart to get a lap back. And it is also going to allow Rob to get a lap back.
So MVP, he will cycle out to be the leader. And Tomato, second place. Amoeba, third. So I guess that first pit stop has benefited, I want to say, him the most, because now he's going to be in prime striking distance to deal with these guys off the restart. And that's going to even get closer from there.
An interesting move by MVP. He's going to opt for that outside line.
MVP opting the outside lane. That's going to be an interesting decision. I guess it's because he wants to know if the guy to his inside is actually going to give him room. Which, in this case, he doesn't know what Amoeba's going to do, but he will know what Tomato will do if he's under him.
And again, if he can get a good start off Tomato, that means he's going to get a good arc into the corner. So that might be his angle here. However, if Tomato isn't sleeping on this start, he may hand Tomato the lead here.
That is true. So we're going to see how that plays out here, as we still have one car all the way back. Just trying to catch up to the field. They should make their way back up, at least within the proper distance. There they go.
MVP gets the start he was looking for. MVP will keep that lead, at least off this first corner.
We'll keep it. And he's just able to get that big jump that a lot of guys get right away.
Yeah, and as long as he got that, he should have been good coming to the corner. I believe what he was doing with that outside lane is he just wanted to get a good arc into the first corner. But again, however, we've seen a couple drivers be able to kind of time up that start just right, be able to keep side by side with the leader, obviously. So definitely could have backfired on MVP, but in this case, it obviously doesn't.
close commodity racing happening in the back right now for around the 5th spot. It's Kurz side by side with Blackened, Rewar in the mix.
Oh!
Slight contact, they all go up. Zeno's going to take advantage, and he's going to go right on by. This is now a 3-wide pack behind him.
And Blacken gets the worst of that. He went from about 5th place all the way down to 11th. He just got shuffled in behind because everyone was checking up to avoid him. And he got tapped again, as I believe it was either Josh or Blue that tapped him again. He kind of went high into turn number 2 as well. So he lost a lot of time in a lot of spots.
And Blue streaked through the grass just a little bit.
A lot of shuffling happening just because of that in the entirety of the lap.
Contact made, Blue Streak, Rays, and Kurz. They're going to run wide as Car Racer gets up under him. And that's going to... They're all going to hold it, but they're all beating and banging off each other.
They're definitely getting very much beating and banging off each other. They're really testing everyone's control over their cars right now. But everything's holding for the time being, at least.
Meanwhile, up front, MVP runs a little wide. Tomato goes for the lead, and now Amoeba going to fall in line and follow through.
Again, Amoeba, the guy we've talked about who undercut everyone, has been able to put himself in some good positions thus far throughout the race. We'll see if he can keep it up for the next 20 laps. Oh, we have another DNF. That is Ray Rob as just DNF.
Unfortunate for him. So now that's going to leave 14 competitors still in the race. MVP and Amoeba get side by side and tangled a little bit off of turn 4. They're still going to be side by side. Amoeba almost getting to the outside of Tomato. Not able to carry that on.
A little farther back in the pack, a lot of competitive racing. Rewar, NC Life, and Slow. Although Slow and NC and Rewar are not any of them battling for a position here, they're still trying to push their cars to stay with this kind of drafting pack just ahead of them. A lot of position swaps, a lot of side-by-side, a little bit of contact between NC Boy and Slow as well.
All right. AK?
Yes.
So I need to run real quick to take a little break, a bathroom break. So I'm going to keep the stream focused on the leaders right now with Tomato. And you can take over for about it. For just a little bit.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. All right, so now that fan's gone. Now my stream. Anyways, we'll continue with it. So again, Tomato, MVP, Amoeba, all 1, 2, 3, all bumper to bumper for the most part. They're starting to pull away from the rest of the field. The only guys that are really behind them are EMC, and I believe that's Blue behind him. So again, it is going to be, again, back and forth racing for this green flag run. We'll see if MVP and Amoeba will try and get a run on Tomato coming to turn number 1. They are gaining a lot. Will any of them pull out? No, not as they enter turn 1. They may try and set up for something into turn number 3. Still bumper to bumper as they exit turn number 2. MVP again still looking. We'll see if he'll bail out here entering turn number 3, or if everyone's just going to kind of stay in line, try and gain some time compared to the rest of the field. They are again pulling away ever so slightly every straight, because they're a lot more linked up than the rest of the field. Now he's going to look. MVP going to go to the inside. He's going to get alongside Tomato is going to be able to make that pass as they enter turn number 1. Amoeba isn't able to follow him through, but Amoeba now looking to do the same thing. We'll see if he does it. Entering turn number 2 is looking, can't quite get there. He's going to lose a bit of time now. We'll see if he can keep in that draft. He should be able to without any issues, but he's going to fall back a fair bit because of that. Now Amoeba lost a bit of time trying to make that move on Tomato, but wasn't quite successful, so does lose a lot of time for it. MVP Tomato still bumper to bumper as they exit turn number 4, heading on to lap number 56. Amoeba has now caught up, had a huge run, wasn't able to quite use it entering turn number 1. Maybe able to set something up for turn number 3, however. Yeah, and Amoeba going to look to the inside. Nothing to be found. Cars are approaching lap traffic. I believe that might be cart in front of them that they're about to approach. Amoeba with a big run entering to turn number 4, pardon me. Now all cars completely bumper to bumper. It is Oracle that are approaching. That is the lap car. We'll see how this lap car will affect them. Here they come. They're going to be able to catch them in turn number 2. We'll see if Oracle will go low. He won't. He'll keep his lane. MVP's going to go low. Tomato's going to go low. So now Oracle's boxed in as they enter turn number 3. We'll see how this shakes it up. Amoeba's going to be able to squeeze in and go low. So they're all going to pass cleanly. They shouldn't lose too much time. Oracle in the wall behind them. They're trying to keep clear of Amoeba. This has given Vision the chance to catch up. He is slowly but surely catching up. As long as he can pass Oracle without too much issue, he should be able to get a shot here to catch these 3. Exiting turn number 2, again, even spacing between all of the top 3. Vision still has not caught that lap car yet. But he should as they enter turn number 3.
We're back.
Welcome back.
All right. I'm assuming nothing too exciting happened.
Nope. Yeah, actually, everyone went backwards for a lap.
Nice. Okay. So, so we really, I guess, didn't have that follow-up caution that we were expecting. We had a lot of incidents that could have easily started one, but not one that actually, I guess, pulled the trigger.
Wanted to, yeah. No execution, only theory. Which I'm sure MVP, Tomato, and Amoeba all loved. Vision is going to try and undercut the field by the looks of it now as he goes into the pits.
Well, Vision, he needed to make up a lot of time from the start. He had a tail end start, as was a part of his penalty for what we felt was an intentional wreck that happened not too long ago. So Vision, he from that penalty, it was a 1-race suspension. The second race would need to be a tail end start plus a drive-through penalty. And then here for this week, he still had the tail end start. So got caught up in that early incident in lap 6. But here, now he's trying to gain a lot of time through the pits. Not sure how successful that'll be, because all of these guys, once they got cycled back around to around lap 48 under yellow, they all went into pit road.
And again, I think he's banking on a long green flag run here because, again, I think he's trying to do what Amoeba did, and that's undercut everyone. He was about 3 seconds behind them, so if he can keep a decent pace and hopefully find a draft partner when he comes out as Rewar and Ray's Peasant go into the pits, he's going to look to try and gain those 3 spots, because again, he was only about 2.5, 3 seconds behind these 3.
And now here, the laps are closing down fast. This is definitely final pit stop window. A lot of guys wanting to have just fast competitive tires equipped to their cars, potentially landing and ending on the soft tire compound. Meanwhile, other drivers might have at the start might have been running those mediums. And so it was trying to figure out what the compound you start with, try to go from there. But for sure, a lot of people like to end on the softs, and MVP takes a late dive to pit road.
Again, I think he was trying to test to see if Amoeba or MVP were going to follow him in, because again, a lot of times you kind of get pressured into pitting when you see a guy ahead of you or who you're chasing go ahead and pit. So by diving down late, he kind of did not allow for that to happen unless they had already planned to come down this time by.
So Tomato drifts and Amoeba. These two haven't really raced around each other a lot in terms of the whole race. Tomato really been battling MVP the whole day. So it's going to be interesting to see whether these two elect to pit at different times or if they elect to pit together.
What I'm watching right now is I'm seeing if Vision's going to be able to beat MVP. And I'm trying to see where MVP got shuffled out to. MVP is DNF'd. He is gone.
So MVP has now DNF'd from the session. Oh no! So that now makes it to where he's going to lose the point lead. He had a 5-point lead over Blackened. So unless Blackened literally finishes 13th or finishes somewhere towards that back, MVP's not going to make up that 5 points at all.
Right now, Blackened sits in that 4th position. So that changes up things, because that was one of the top guys all night. So now he is out of race contention. So
now with him being brought out of race contention, that's going to be interesting what's going to happen forward. JSR Blackened, that's going to assume then he's going to take the point lead. This is going to allow Tomato Drifts to make a lot of room up on MVP in the points, though. So that's going to allow Tomato to get really close to that top 3, but it's also going to allow Blackened to scoot away a little bit with a point lead. So definitely that's going to change up a lot for these top 3 in the points.
Another thing this affects for the in race is now it's where is Vision going to come out when everyone's done? Amoeba's going to dive down into the pits. Tomato's going to stay out for another lap. We're going to get a good sight here if Vision's pit strategy is going to work out for him or not. He's currently about to enter turn number 3. We'll see here. Amoeba's going to dive down now, too.
So Amoeba, he's now exiting pit road in 5th spot. Vision, he's catching him. He will pass him, because remember, you need to stay down on that access road through turn 1 and turn 2. So Amoeba now in the short chute. Now he needs to dive down in the turn 2 access road area. And that's actually, no, I thought he was going to pass him, but no. Vision is going to make up a huge gap on Amoeba, but he's not ahead of him.
Yeah, and if Amoeba can stay ahead of Vision, he should, again, get that lead back. Because, again, everyone ahead of Amoeba still has to pit. They still have not pit for their final time yet. And I doubt many, if anyone, will try and stretch it for the last 7 laps.
Now, if you do have enough of a lead, do you think you can play with that lead a little bit? Because right now there's a 11-second gap roughly between first, second place, and Zeno hasn't pitted yet. To the first car that has pitted, it's a 29-second gap, 30-second gap. So if Tomato feels like he has enough health in those tires, enough wear left in him, that could very easily make it to where he's just playing a distance game.
The problem with these tires is, especially at this track, when the fall off happens, you lose a lot of time. You're not just losing like a tenth or a quarter of a tenth. You're gonna lose 3/10 per lap, and that's gonna very, very quickly add up. It might even be 3/10 per corner. So me personally, it'll come down to if I can handle the tires where I will, but I would be very, very risky. Because you could go from being 10 seconds up to being all the way back on 7, let's say.
This will leave, now this race official, no more cautions will be called for the rest of the race. So we don't have that as a factor to come out last second. Tomato the leader. He's 8.7 seconds ahead, so that gap is failing. Tomato is going slower. And that's the gap to Zeno. There's now, was that someone else? That was JSR Blackened!
That's what MVP needed.
So now 1 and 2 in the points standings have now lagged out of the event with just a handful of laps to go. Tomato is going to dramatically catch up to them in the point standings now.
That last lap, he lost just under a second. And it's only going to continue to get worse because, again, now he is starting to have to lift a lot in these corners compared to everyone else. Everyone else, it should be pretty much full throttle. But now he's losing about a second and a half per lap. The route is going to be very, very close.
So it will cut out very close indeed. FLE Zeno, second place car. I don't quite know the gap because Forza is messing up a little bit. I'm going to showing gap as 0.
6.3.
6.3.
6.2. 6.1. 5.9.
Obviously here, now 2 laps to go. Tomato has no intention of diving down pit lane. He is going to play this game, and he's going to try and keep Zeno behind him.
5.4. 5.3. 5.2.
I see that. Yeah, now my Forza has fixed itself, so I see that gap now. 5.1, 5 flat. He's losing a lot of time. And Oracle, he's going to be able to easily get around Tomato here, or should be able to. These two, they are kind of buddies real life. Is he going to try and help him a little bit? He might try and push him, and that's going to allow that gap to close at a slower rate, but still, he's not able to even turn. 4 seconds now, the gap coming to the white flag.
He's going to have to limp it around for 4 more corners, but he is losing a lot of time. Just on that turn alone, he lost a full second. You can see him now, second place just behind him. Entering turn number 1.
Final lap.
The difference is right behind him. He is exiting turn number 2. Second place is entering it. Down to 2-1. 2-0.
Half a lap to go. Will Tomato have enough? Do the tires have enough in them? Regardless, he's going to finish top 2. But now, final corners. 1/6 the gap now. 1/5.
And this is the tightest corner.
Not going to have enough time, not going to have the distance. Tomato Drifts is going to pull it off and win at Indianapolis. Wow.
Again, that's the thing with pit strategy. Tomato was able to hold on to those tires just long enough and able to control those tires just long enough to be able to go the entire length from his last pit stop without having to pit.
Your top 3 will officially be Tomato Drifts, FLE Zeno in second, and Josh Kurz getting himself a podium today. Amoeba just missing out after we thought was a good pit strat for 4th, and EMC Vision rounding off the top 5.
Again, Tomato was able to get a good finish strategy where if he had one more lap, he is losing that lead. Zeno catches him with one more lap.
What a great job from Tomato there. You didn't even know if he was going to have enough tire left.
Yeah, look at like that. That's about as close as you can get on tires in general. You cannot get much more closer than what he just did.
What did he end his tire wears on? What was the ending wear?
I didn't check them, but I know when I had checked them, they were already at about 65%, and that was with about 6-7 laps to go. So I can only imagine it was nearing the 80s, if not 90s.
With how much time he was losing, that definitely is believable there. Well, what a post-race to what we just had at Indianapolis. So now we're going to go ahead, try to get regathered. We're going to try get the top 3 in here. AK, if you can assist me with that, that'll be great. We need Tomato, Zeno, and Josh Kurz. It is also up to the driver whether if they want to decline post-race.
Uh, one for 3.
Howdy, howdy.
And Tomato actually just posted in the Discord he ended at 86% wear in the tires.
I think I was a little less than that, probably around 83. Crazy.
Okay, so Tomato has elected to decline his post-race.
First place tonight. We want to split second and third then, if that's the case.
Yes, so we're gonna split. So I guess the split would then be you would take Josh, I would then take Zeno.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right, well, I'm just checking. As long as read it up.
You act like I haven't been here in a couple weeks.
Play rock, paper, scissors.
Well, I mean, you have. Not the point there. All right. So we can go ahead and get post-race underway. AK, you will take Josh. I'll do Zeno. But first, let's do mic check with you two. So Zeno and Kurz, whenever you guys can, say a sentence or something so I can hear you on the stream.
Check, check, 1, 2.
I believe I only heard Josh. I didn't hear Zeno.
I heard me
So-
through there.
Okay, yes, I did just hear you.
Okay.
So then, Josh, was it you I didn't hear? All right, that's correct. I do not hear you on the stream.
Yeah. Go into the party. There's an option to include your audio. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 3, 2, 1.
There we go. We got you now. All right. All right. Now that we have you guys under and squared away, AK, you can go ahead. You have the floor.
Fantastic. All right, Josh. Obviously, a good finish for you tonight. I believe this is your first race. Correct me if I'm wrong, though.
No, this would be that was my 4th race.
All right. Well, I got corrected. Either way, though, good finish overall. Obviously, good pit strategy kind of led you to getting in a good position to be able to get into that top. You were one of the guys, I believe you, Zeno, obviously Tomato, were the only guys to not kind of pit with everyone else to get that last pit stop and trying to make your tires last a bit longer than everyone else seemed to pay off for you, obviously, as you're here on the podium. So I'll ask you tonight, what do you think were the keys to tonight's race?
Well, with only one caution, I think that was a key part in the race to. That was right at the end. That was right around the tire wear, where tires were gonna matter. So I put hards on because I knew about 25 laps was about the range for hards. So when that caution came out with around 20 to go, I knew if I took hards, I'd be able to make it to the end. It was just on how if everyone else is gonna take hards or they went on mediums. And the run is pretty obvious that Razor and Xeno, I think, they had put on hards, and everyone else who had pitted, I believe, only took mediums. So, ran the hard strategy all race. I never put on mediums. I ran hards and was able to lead a couple laps during those stints. So, it was just with only one caution. I think that was a very key point in the race to decide what we want to do, and ultimately it all worked out for us.
And like you said, a lot of green flag racing. So when you get in those green flag stints and you're either by yourself or with a guy or two, how do you try and keep yourself focused on the race itself?
You just got to keep pace the best you can. No matter what tires you're on, you just got to keep pace. And over the race, the track was picking up, lap times were picking up, rubber is being put down, and you never really lost speed throughout a run. You kept gaining time throughout the run, so you never really lost time unless people are on mediums or softs. So you just had to keep your pace, and your lap times would be picking up. So just trying to keep your pace and stay with whoever was around you to the best you can.
And comparing this track compared to our only other super speedway, that being obviously Daytona, I know that was a couple weeks ago. But again, how much does the racing change between track to track and even super speedway to super speedway?
Well, comparing Indianapolis to Daytona is like comparing apples and oranges. I mean, the Indy gets spread out. You really have to. The draft is still there, but you really have to just again, keeping pace and keeping up with the car ahead of you. If you can keep ahead with the car ahead of you, you can really use the draft to kind of stay with the car. If you lose the draft, then you're just riding around by yourself. It's just keeping up with the car ahead of you and not trying to lose time to the car in front of you when it gets all spread out.
Well, congrats on the third place tonight. Again, a good finish and great pitch strategy to help you along with that. Good luck coming into the next couple races, and good luck heading into the playoffs.
Oh yeah, thank you. It was a good race.
Or not MVP. What am I thinking? And to you with second place.
All right.
me at a laugh. Interviewing second place this time.
Yeah. Well, still okay. But thank you for that. But here we're gonna go on to second place here. Tomato obviously declining his post-race interview, which no harm, no foul. It's just up to the drivers. So Zeno, there was something that I wanted to bring up during the race, as when I saw you were kind of your pit strategy was a little different, just based off of when we were seeing you going into pit road in comparison to others. You have won a race off of having an off strategy and just making up the time at the end. And that was at Homestead, I believe, last season, that you were able to get a win like that. Were you trying to anticipate the same thing, or do you not even remember that race?
I do remember that, actually. It was very surprising that it actually happened. Honestly, it was half and half. Like, I was half anticipating that something would happen, but then the other half, it was just, let's just see how this goes. But luckily, I had a dancing partner in Rewar to help me out.
Did notice that yes, you and Ree were working together a lot there, especially through the middle part of the race. In you and trying to intermix different strategies, were you trying to rely on a caution where it came out during that point of the race, or were you thinking it was going to go green to the end, so I just have to have a good strategy that I'm going to have the better tires at the end?
I was just thinking it would go green the whole way, but with that ill-timed caution mentioned so many, with the numbers my team gave me, I saw the numbers that they were given, and I really just prayed.
Well, we pretty much knew once some guys were going into pit road towards the end of the race, other guys electing to stay out. Once you were in that second spot, you knew you needed to make up a lot of time on Tomato. Did you think you were going to have enough time to get to him? Or, because in reality, if the race was one lap longer, you would have gotten to him.
Definitely.
Most definitely.
At first,
because, I mean, you're almost gaining a second every set of corners.
At first, I thought he was with the guys on mediums who decided to pull in with, anywhere from 12 to 10 to go.
Yeah.
But then, all of a sudden, his tires fell off a cliff, and I thought I had a chance. And as soon as I saw the name above the car, I was like, please do something wrong. But no, I think it was like maybe a second across the line, the distance.
It was roughly
half a lap.
It
half
got
a lap,
down.
and I would have had him.
Yep, around half a lap you would have had him, but you came up just that tiny bit short. But I still think this will help you out well in any sort of way anyway. Because here, in looking at the point standings real quick, you weren't even in the top 10 entering into this race. And unless you're marked as a different name, hold on, because I know Cart likes to change things up.
It will definitely jumpstart my points after missing the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's going to make it to where you entered this race 11th in the standings. So just right outside the top 10. You're definitely going to overpass Frodo, and you're going to get a lot closer to Amoeba, who didn't finish too far behind you, but at the same time, the ones ahead of him are Vision and Peasant. So definitely going to give you a little bit of a boost, but now, more importantly, it's going to give you a boost to be within range of something that you could be going for, and that is going to be that wild card. spot.
The coveted wild card.
That wild card entry, you just need a win. You couldn't quite get it today, but you were close. And as I pointed at the top of the broadcast, what is the cutoff race for the regular season? We're going to come back here to Indianapolis, and now knowing that you can run well today, that second Indianapolis race, the only difference, it's 5 laps longer. So how much will that 5 laps impact what we could have seen tonight? That's going to change it a lot. So hopefully you see yourself having a good run, and good luck to you for the rest of the season. Were there any other final thoughts that you thought going into this race tonight?
Nope, I think you nailed all of them, actually.
All right. Well, now, good luck to you moving on forward, and a good job coming up with a top 3 tonight.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Much appreciated.
So now, AK. First broadcast back after 2 weeks, and we ended up seeing a little bit of a mixed race. You know, we had the different pit strategies. We had long green flag runs. The only surprising part, the cautions. We had multiple incidents throughout the race, because we had the incident come out at around lap 6, but due to the drive-through, first 10 laps go caution-free. So with that, it really made it to where there wasn't any more opportunity for that back-to-back yellow to come out, other than when that caution came out, around lap 45? So almost in the dead half of the race, a little bit past that. What do you think we can see when we come back here for the regular season finale?
I think we'll definitely see a bit of the same. If there's going to be one track that will provide us a lot of green flag racing, it's always going to be Indianapolis. Because like we've seen, cars do get spread out a fair bit. Not to say that some people can't make mistakes when they're bump drafting, etc., etc. But however, you're not going to see a lot of cautions here. So I think you're going to, again, when we come back here, you're going to see a lot of long green flag racing. And you're going to see kind of the same people who kind of excelled here excel again. So I think overall it should be another good green flag racing, and obviously we're hoping for another close finish like we did this time, where it was 1 second difference and me rapid closing.
Definitely could have been a lot different there towards the end of the race. But we are going to have a couple more laps added on to when we come back here for the regular season finale. So that's going to be interesting going forward. Meanwhile, next week we will be, I believe it's going to be a road course. Because I know Daytona road course, that's going to be coming up soon.
I believe that is the next race, the Daytona road course.
Yep, Daytona road course. That will be the next race. So that's going to be interesting, because right now it's just listed we're running the same road course package just with a handicap, but that will more than likely change, because we have been working on a different road course tune, but only to run at Daytona. Because obviously long front straightaway, we don't have that little kink that NASCAR had, that little quick chicane coming off of Speedway Turn 4. We don't have that, nor do we plan on drivers manually needing to run that. So we're going to have to make an adjustment. We're more than likely going to come out with a new tune for that race, and that should be interesting. Going to be small lap count, 25 laps, but still takes a while to do 1 lap around that track. So that should be fun and interesting. And then these handful of races, what's going to happen? Are we going to see that wild card position come into play? Are we going to see a close battle to the end? We don't know until we get there. But that is going to resume tonight's broadcast. It was a fun one here at Indianapolis. We can't wait to see you guys again. And that's going to wrap it up here for round 6 out of 15 for the